We live in a world obsessed with self-improvement. Everywhere we turn, there's advice on how to be your best self. But what if I told you that this constant striving for perfection is doing more harm than good? Shocking, right? Here's a fact most people don't know. Research shows that perfectionism is linked to higher levels of anxiety, depression, and even physical health problems. In fact, a study by the American Psychological Association found that perfectionists are 30% more likely to suffer from mental health issues than those who embrace imperfection. And yet, we're told over and over to be the best version of ourselves. In this video, we're going to challenge everything you think you know about personal growth. We'll explore why constantly chasing perfection might actually be holding you back. You'll learn the truth about how to grow, find real happiness, and unleash your potential, without the pressure to be perfect. Get ready to discover a new way to think about success and personal development. It's time to stop trying to be your best self and start being yourself instead. Keep watching to learn how. Chapter 1. The myth of the best self, why perfection is overrated. We've all heard the phrase, be the best version of yourself. It sounds inspiring, right? But what if I told you that the idea of being your best self might actually be a trap? The truth is, aiming for perfection can lead to frustration, anxiety, and even burnout. The best self is an illusion that doesn't exist. According to research from the American Psychological Association, the more people strive for perfection, the higher their chances of experiencing stress and depression. Chasing perfection often leaves us feeling inadequate because we are constantly comparing ourselves to an ideal that doesn't reflect reality. Perfection is subjective, and what seems perfect to one person might not be the same for another. This endless pursuit can prevent us from appreciating who we truly are in the present moment. Instead of chasing after an impossible version of best, try focusing on being the best you can today. Research from Harvard shows that accepting your imperfections leads to greater happiness. Studies indicate that those who embrace their flaws are less likely to feel overwhelmed or depressed. Real personal growth happens when we stop trying to fix ourselves and focus on evolving as human beings. It's not about striving for an ideal, it's about becoming better in our own unique ways. Psychologist Carl Rogers argues that growth happens when we embrace our real selves, not by chasing an unattainable version of perfection. Growth is an ongoing process, not a destination, and it requires patience. Here's the key: perfectionism stifles creativity. By focusing too much on being perfect, we often miss the opportunities to express ourselves freely and authentically. In fact, studies show that creative people often embrace imperfection. They understand that mistakes and failures are part of the process, not signs of defeat. Instead of focusing on being perfect, focus on progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, counts. If you shift your perspective from achieving perfection to valuing progress, you'll experience less stress and more fulfillment. So, what's the real secret? Let go of the idea of being best and start focusing on real, meaningful growth. It's okay to be imperfect. In fact, it's more than okay, it's essential. Chapter 2. The pitfalls of endless self-improvement, how it holds you back. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to improve. Books, podcasts, social media, and even our friends and family encourage us to be better versions of ourselves. But there's a danger in this endless self-improvement mentality. It can make us feel like we're never enough. It creates a cycle of dissatisfaction that can hold us back from experiencing real contentment and growth. Studies show that people who focus too much on self-improvement can suffer from what's called the arrival fallacy. This term, coined by psychologist Tal Ben-Shahar, refers to the belief that happiness comes once we achieve a goal or reach a certain level of success. The problem? Once we reach that goal, we often feel empty or unsatisfied, so we set new, higher goals, continuing the cycle. One of the most powerful strategies to break this cycle is to practice gratitude. Research from the University of California found that people who focus on gratitude are happier, more productive, and less stressed. When we appreciate where we are right now, instead of constantly focusing on where we think we should be, we build a sense of contentment that doesn't rely on external achievements. Gratitude also helps us shift our focus from what we need to improve to what we already have. It's an empowering way to live in the moment, without the constant pressure of striving. Studies from the Journal of Positive Psychology found that practicing gratitude daily can improve overall well-being by up to 25%. Another powerful strategy to break free from the self-improvement trap is mindfulness. By practicing mindfulness, you can learn to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. This helps you accept where you are right now, instead of feeling pressured to constantly change. Mindfulness can also reduce anxiety, depression, and stress, as shown by numerous studies in the Journal of Clinical Psychology. Here's the secret. Self-improvement isn't bad, but when it becomes endless, it takes the joy out of life. Instead of always chasing the next, better version of yourself, take time to appreciate your journey and the person you are today. Progress should feel rewarding, not draining. Chapter 3. Reframing success. The power of embracing your flaws. Success is often defined by external achievements, getting the promotion, winning the competition, or having the perfect life. But what if true success comes from embracing our flaws, not hiding them? When we accept our imperfections, we open ourselves to real growth and happiness. Studies in positive psychology show that people who accept their flaws are more likely to feel confident and fulfilled. Psychologist Martin Seligman's research on learned optimism highlights the importance of embracing our weaknesses. When we stop fighting against our flaws and start accepting them, we stop feeling defeated and start moving forward. One way to embrace your flaws is by practicing self-compassion. According to Dr. Kristen Neff, a pioneer in self-compassion research, people who practice self-compassion are more resilient in the face of challenges. Instead of harshly judging ourselves when we make mistakes, we treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we'd offer a friend. Self-compassion not only helps us accept our flaws, but it also boosts our mental health. A study published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology found that people with high levels of self-compassion experience less anxiety, depression, and stress. They are also more likely to bounce back from setbacks. It's time to reframe success. Instead of measuring success by how close we get to perfection, we should focus on how well we embrace our imperfections. By accepting our flaws, we free ourselves from unrealistic standards and open the door to a deeper form of success, one based on authenticity, self-acceptance, and personal growth. Here's a powerful fact. Research from Harvard Business Review found that leaders who show vulnerability and embrace their flaws are rated as more effective and trustworthy. So, whether you're leading a team or navigating your own life, embracing your imperfections is the key to success. Remember, your flaws don't define you, they refine you. Embrace them, and you'll find that your true potential has nothing to do with being perfect. It has everything to do with being real, authentic, and open to growth. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on how to live a fulfilling and authentic life. Chapter 4. The secret to authentic growth. Why being your best self is an illusion. The idea of becoming your best self is a popular narrative, but it might not be the key to real growth. If you've ever felt exhausted by the endless pursuit of perfection, you're not alone. Studies show that perfectionism can increase anxiety, stress, and depression. In fact, according to research from the American Psychological Association, perfectionists are 30% more likely to suffer from mental health issues compared to those who focus on progress instead of perfection. Instead of fixating on an ideal, why not embrace the process of growth? The truth is, real growth happens when we accept our imperfections and focus on small, manageable steps forward. Author James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, emphasizes that focusing on tiny improvements, day by day, leads to meaningful change over time. Clear explains, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. This is a powerful approach to growth. Rather than trying to be perfect, work on building systems and habits that improve your life slowly. By focusing on consistent progress, we avoid burnout and unnecessary stress. Research shows that small, consistent habits can be more effective for long-term growth than major, short-term changes. Embracing authentic growth means recognizing that where you are today is just a starting point. According to psychologist Carl Rogers, personal growth comes when you focus on being true to yourself, not by chasing an unattainable version of perfection. Growth isn't about reaching the finish line, it's about continuing the journey, even when things aren't perfect. Authenticity also plays a major role in this process. Research from the University of California found that people who embrace their authentic selves experience higher levels of happiness and fulfillment. When we stop trying to be someone else's best self and focus on becoming our true selves, we unlock the potential for greater success and personal satisfaction. Rather than thinking of growth as a destination, start viewing it as a lifelong journey of self-discovery. Being authentic means accepting who you are right now, flaws and all, while still striving to be a better version of yourself each day. When we embrace the idea of authentic growth, we find peace in the process, not just the result. Chapter 5. The power of good enough, breaking free from unnecessary pressure. We've all been taught to strive for perfection, but what if aiming for good enough is the key to more happiness and less stress? In a world that often praises perfection, it can be difficult to embrace the idea that good enough might just be sufficient. But studies show that when we embrace good enough, we actually perform better and feel more fulfilled. Psychologist Barry Schwartz, in his book The Paradox of Choice, explains that the constant pursuit of perfection leads to decision fatigue, stress, and dissatisfaction. Having too many choices or striving for the perfect outcome can make us feel overwhelmed. Schwartz argues that embracing good enough not only reduces stress but also increases happiness. One of the best strategies to break free from the pressure of perfection is to set realistic, achievable goals. Research from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology suggests that people who set small, realistic goals are more likely to succeed than those who aim for perfect, unattainable outcomes. By aiming for progress, not perfection, we reduce pressure and allow ourselves to feel a sense of accomplishment. Another powerful tool to embrace good enough is mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to focus on the present moment, helping us to stop worrying about whether we're good enough in comparison to others. A study published in Psychological Science found that mindfulness helps reduce anxiety and increase well-being by making us more aware of our thoughts without judgment. When we stop comparing ourselves to an ideal standard, we start appreciating the good in our own lives. The key to happiness often lies in accepting that you are enough. A 2018 study published in Psychology Today found that individuals who practice self-compassion are 40% more likely to feel satisfied with their lives. When you stop measuring yourself against impossible standards, you create room for peace and contentment. If you keep pushing yourself to be perfect, you may eventually experience burnout. But if you focus on being good enough, you give yourself the freedom to relax and enjoy life. Instead of focusing on what you're lacking, appreciate what you've already achieved. The less pressure you put on yourself to be perfect, the more room you have to grow. So, stop striving for perfection and start focusing on what you can do today. Good enough isn't just sufficient, it's powerful. It's the first step in breaking free from the chains of perfectionism and finding joy in the journey. Subscribe now to get more content that helps you embrace your real self and lead a happier life. Chapter 6. Unleashing your true potential. Stop trying to be best. Start being real. The real secret to unleashing your full potential is not about striving to be the best, it's about being real. It's about embracing your true self, flaws and all, and letting go of the pressure to be someone else's idea of perfection. The most successful people are often those who embrace their authenticity and stay true to who they are, not those who tirelessly chase after an ideal. In fact, research from Harvard Business Review shows that leaders who embrace their authentic selves are rated as 33% more effective than those who try to conform to expectations. Authenticity builds trust, fosters connection, and leads to better decision-making. So, why not apply this to your own life? Being real with yourself is the first step toward reaching your true potential. When we focus on being our true selves, we stop comparing ourselves to others. Psychologist Brené Brown, in her book Daring Greatly, argues that vulnerability is the key to creativity and growth. By allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and authentic, we free ourselves from the need to be perfect and open ourselves up to new possibilities. Here's the important part: self-acceptance is essential to unlocking your true potential. A study published in the Journal of Counseling Psychology found that self-acceptance is positively correlated with life satisfaction and well-being. When you accept yourself as you are, you remove the barriers that prevent you from growing and achieving your goals. The more authentic you are, the more empowered you feel. In fact, embracing your true self increases self-confidence and helps you become more resilient in the face of challenges. Research from the University of California shows that people who practice self-compassion are less likely to experience depression, anxiety, and burnout. They are also more likely to achieve their goals because they are working from a place of inner strength, not perfectionism. To unleash your potential, focus on being real instead of being best. Embrace your unique qualities and let go of the need to measure up to anyone else's standards. The truth is, you don't need to be perfect to succeed, you just need to be true to yourself. So, let go of the chase for perfection and start being authentic. When you embrace who you really are, your true potential will naturally unfold. The key to success is not in being the best version of someone else, but in being the most real, authentic version of yourself. And that's when you'll unlock your true potential. Don't forget to subscribe to get more life-changing tips and insights.